I know that's hard because, yeah, we don't want to hear the problem, we don't want to hear about it. Oh, now she's pregnant. Oh, how do I know it's mine? I know there's a lot of drama involved in that, but so they blocked my passport before I came here. She said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll have it out in a few weeks." I'm like, I don't think the government works that quick anywhere. So there wasn't, but guess what it said? Cleared, 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 cleared. You may now renew your passport. I'm like, whoa, thank you, Lord. To me, and bang, I was ready to go. I wanted to get out of the U.S. I love the U.S. It's been so good to me. This is a great story, okay? This involves two people, a foreigner from the U.S., from Arkansas, and a Filipina whose name is May. Now, we know May. We don't know Jeff. Jeff's a foreigner. Hey guys, welcome to The Boss Upstairs. It's James. I got a new video here for you. And it's called Mess Around, Find Out. Now look, these thumbnails, I always try to get them to match the videos, but I have to, full disclosure, I want to tell you, we are not trying to put videos out that fearmonger or, where an expat might see it, because I've done it. I've looked at videos and I'm like, I don't even watch that. That's so negative. It's just like, oh man, what if that's me? Or what if that could be me? I don't want to watch negative stuff. All right, guys, so why don't we go ahead and get into this video. I'm just going to play a little short blurb of some stock footage that I put together just to kind of summarize in a few seconds what's going on with the video and stuff. So, but let's get into it right now.
He steps through Manila's sunlit departure hall, carrying a single suitcase. Back at home, a Filipina mother cradles her baby, the doorway now empty. When a foreign dad vanishes, legal ties don't. Social Security keeps his name on the ledger. Retired or disabled, he can still provide. About half of his benefit goes to the child. If he passes away, payments can rise to roughly 3/4 until adulthood. First, paternity must be proven: DNA test, court order, or a signed acknowledgement. U.S. Social Security looks to each state's law to decide who qualifies. From Manila, that law becomes a financial lifeline stretching across the Pacific. Usually, the mother acts as representative payee, guarding the funds for her child's future.
But Jeff came out here, and he got May pregnant, which was a blessing, a beautiful thing. But Jeff went back to the U.S. and May had the child, and there was some big gaps of communication between the two of them. So she was wondering, how am I going to take care of this child? How is this all going to work? So this video talks about what expats and foreigners, and again, expats to me, are people that still live here. They may travel, but this is their home base. Foreigners are people that have left and went back to either their country of origin or somewhere else. So this story is about those two, and then also I have a short, brief story about me and what happened to me with a child support issue before I was able to come out to the Philippines, and how they held the passport, and I wasn't able to to come out. So this ties in with that story as well. But I want to talk about Jeff and May first, okay? So Jeff came out here, and he just recently left, and May was pregnant. Now, May's son, or both of their son, they don't want me to say the name of the son, but May lives in the Manila area, and Jeff now is back in Arkansas. Jeff is 63 years old right now. He started taking his retirement last year. And their son is almost 2 years old right now. So the story starts basically with her being pregnant, having the child, and then wondering, what she's going to be able to do, how she's going to support this child, because at the time, Jeff was kind of out of the picture. And so she reached out to my wife, actually, and they had a conversation, because we know them, because we go, as you might know from previous videos, we go and visit our daughter who's in college in Manila area. So we know May. She's a friend of ours. But she was out there at that point, and my wife and her had a long conversation. So, my wife came and she talked to me afterward about it. She said, hey, May wanted me to share this to you. She's kind of in a situation, and want to know if we can help her in any way. Not monetarily, of course, but help her. And so I did give her a couple of phone numbers to call. And the main one was the FBU unit, the Federal Benefits Unit in the embassy, the U.S. Embassy for Social Security, because I said, hey, she may be entitled. It's an American citizen, basically. So she did inquire, and it was good news for her. So now it wasn't bad news for Jeff, okay, but initially here it was really good news for her. So what she discovered was she was able and she qualified for a benefit. Now, the shocking part to her and Jeff, because the embassy, the Social Security office of the embassy, they had to contact Jeff, okay? And they did. They contacted him, and he was very cooperative. He gave them all his information, and he said, yeah, if Social Security can provide a benefit for our son, I would like that. Even though I might not be in the picture out there physically, because he took another job. He had a contract job he took for, I think, 1 year in Dubai. That's why he had to leave. It's not like he dipped out or anything. So Jeff's a good guy. He's chivalry shines. He showed his colors and he stepped up and he gave all the information. And then so Social Security took the case. They processed it, and so this is kind of how all of it went. And I'm just going to kind of briefly, say that at the time, May was really struggling because her parents were taking care of her and the child. So, but May is employed now, and she has someone to watch the child now, because what happened was Social Security came back. I'll start with Jeff's benefit. Jeff gave her authorization to share that with us. Not his exact dollar amount, but and again, I couldn't get him on the show. He's not here, but he will come on later when he's back, maybe next year. But May doesn't want to go on the show yet because this is not all completely finalized. So I fully respect their privacy in all ways. So I did make sure I got, a written authorization to go ahead and give the information that she shared with me. And she wants to share it, you guys. She wants to share it. She wants other Filipinos to know, hey, you're not alone, because what she did, she actually reached out to 2 other Filipinas who were in similar situations. One, her foreign boyfriend is a German guy, and the other, her foreign boyfriend is a Canadian from British Columbia. And so they actually already went through this process and they received their benefits. So Germany and Canada also do the same thing. But today we're talking about the U.S. because that's where Jeff is from Arkansas. Now, so this was all pretty overwhelming, as you can imagine, for May. But she did find a turning point in this whole thing, okay, you guys? Social Security came back and said, look, okay, Jeff gets about $1,600 a month, okay, and he just started collecting last year. So what they did was they calculated everything, and their son, and at their request, I won't say his name, but their son will be receiving $800 a month. Okay, now he's also special needs too, so he'll be receiving $800 a month from Jeff's benefit. Okay, and I think the special needs, of course, kicked that in, had a lot to do with this. But in-family care is a component that a lot of Filipinos don't know about. And in-family care is where Social Security will pay the mother as well, a separate benefit aside from the child. And May qualified for $800 a month. So basically, the child is getting $800 a month, which May, of course, is the guardian of that. And then she's also getting $800 a month, all right, to play the role, not play, but be in the role of the mother, to be the full-time caretaker of the child, because she's not She's not Jeff's wife. They never got married, but that doesn't matter. The benefits are there primarily for the children, okay? And I'm all for that. So again, this is not a negative video. The story turns out great for both her and Jeff because Jeff's pension never gets touched, and that's how it works. The $1,600 combined goes to May and the child. Jeff's pension's fine. Jeff still remains getting his $1,600, and that's typical. That's how it is. So that's why it's a great ending for both of them. He feels better. The child's being taken care of. He's in school. He's in a special class for people with special needs. I'm not going to go into what the special needs is, but he functions. He's great. He's a great child. Everything's fine with that. So, you know, one other thing is the reciprocity between countries for Social Security is usually parallel. They parallel. And shockingly, from what I found out, and a lot of others, including Jeff and May, the United States Social Security system does not have reciprocity with the Philippines Social Security system. Now, they claim it's because of the intricate parts of it, that it doesn't operate anything like the Philippines Social Security system, okay? So that's why that doesn't happen. So that's why our Filipinos do not receive our Social Security if we're married to them. If I pass, you know, my wife's not going to get it. And, you know, I've said this on a previous video, and we have a video coming up for Social Security and life insurance. So my wife and I put life insurance in place of my pension benefit so she would have a lump sum and an income. Now, in Jeff and May's case, they have a biological child, obviously. So they don't need to worry about that, okay? That all of a sudden plays a part. And, you know, brings up another issue where there's foreigners that come out here and become expats in their 60s, old like me, some even in their 70s, and they have a child. Now, look, I'm not going to be too opinionated on that, okay? Others will. You can leave it in the comments below as long as they're respectful, please. But yeah, that's a lot to take on for a person, for people of my age and above. You know, I'm 64, so I don't really think, I think I would rather replace that with life insurance. You know, I'd rather pay 10 or 15K a month for life insurance rather than bring a child into the world and go through the, you know, the energy of raising a child. I don't know if I could give a child 100% of me at my age, you know, and I don't know how all that would play out logistically, emotionally, and, you know, how other people viewed our child. Oh, you know, what, is that your grandpa? No, that's my dad. I went to pick him up at school or something, you know. So that's the other thing. But getting back on track to this, so May will be receiving those benefits very soon. She's already been approved for them. And Jeff, kudos to Jeff, because he did reach out immediately when they reached out to him, you know. And again, Jeff was surprised. She was surprised that this benefit was available and his pension was still intact. No problem. What happens is the party that may suffer is like maybe if Jeff had an ex-wife that's entitled to some of his pension, you know, that may change her benefit amount. She'll still get it. It may be for a shorter term, you know, it may be a lesser amount or a combination of the both. But as far as the direct retiree, Jeff, no, it does not affect his pension. As far as the direct child, the biological child, it will not affect his benefit or the mother of that child. In fact, it enhances the benefit because she gets the in-home care, you know, benefit for the child. So that's a little hidden benefit that Filipinas, if I had to guess, and there's no way of knowing, but I would say 99.9% of these Filipinos do not know that that benefit exists. Ladies, it's there. And expats and foreigners, it doesn't affect us, okay? So maybe it could help us instead of us trying to, you know, maybe come out of it with our own pocket. Take it from our retirement fund. It's there. The money's sitting there. We have a pension fund. You know something, guys. I researched something, and I also saw another video on it on a channel I never really watched, but the guy made a lot of sense. He says, I researched this, and he has data on it. The average time that a person collects Social Security, what's the length and the term? Okay, and he came up with the same answer as I did, because I guess we were using the same source, citing from the same source. 8 years. You guys, 8 years is the average time we collect our pension. Because most people in the US started at 67. Maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. This is why you'll see a lot of videos, including some of mine. Take your pension now. What the hell are you waiting for? Take it at 62, you guys. Don't take it at 67. You got 5 years there. 5 years, you have no idea what's going to happen. So what? So you can collect an extra few $100s? No. Even on Goldfinger's show, when I was being interviewed by him, he said the same thing when he asked me that question. I said, no, I took my pension early, 62. He says, yeah. He says, I ran the numbers. It makes no sense to wait past 62. Okay, especially, if we're not too healthy. Most of us are, but some of us have a few things and we're on medication or whatnot. So anyway, back to this. So, because May is the mother, she's taking care of the child, she gets the benefit as well, okay? So we went through the numbers, that's about what it is. So they can actually, receive the equivalent amount of what we're receiving, you guys. I mean, and that's fine, it doesn't affect us. Now, like I have an ex-wife, right? So it may have affected her, not me, but it may have affected her. Oh, well, what are you gonna do? So that's just how it is. But the thing is this, is when it comes to child support, because there's an element in here of child support, possibly. So if Jeff's sole pension was just Social Security, and he had no other jobs, which Jeff does, it's relatively new, but Jeff does. So if he's making more money, reported to be making more money, then that changes the amount of what May is entitled to for child support, possibly even spousal support. So we're not going to go into that, okay? But because this was based on his Social Security pension only, not pension from a company, but just his Social Security, she received $800 and the child received $800. Now, they could receive more if he has additional income, but that's not what this video is about. But again, Filipinas, if you're watching, we do have about a third of our audiences from the Philippines, and about half of our audience is actually females, which I was surprised. But I can see why now. So this is a benefit that will not affect, your boyfriend, your significant other, your expat, your husband, if you did get married, whatever. So you're entitled to it. And your biological child is entitled to it. So it's there. And you guys, don't worry, it's not going to affect us in a negative way. That's the good news. That's how this story ends good. Because if you get into the child support realm of it, they could stop your passport, they could stop, your driver's license, they could take your tax refunds, all kinds of stuff.
Child support never fades. U.S. courts can garnish wages, seize tax refunds, even freeze passports, anywhere, even in the Philippines. When a father claims Social Security, a child can quietly collect on his record. Bankruptcy won't erase the debt, and enforcement follows worldwide. For Filipina mothers, the journey starts with proof, then a visit to the U.S. Embassy benefits desk. Silence is risky for foreign fathers. Retirement, disability, or death can all trigger payments. A Filipino child may qualify for monthly U.S. Social Security, and the mother caring for that child can receive a child in care benefit until the child turns 16. This payment salutes her role and eases living costs across oceans. If dad's check is $1,600, mom gets $800. If he dies, her share can climb to $1,200. Support may cross borders, but it never cracks.
which leads to mine, and this is the end, toward the end of the video, but I want to tell you my story. I had child support on my record. Now, I wasn't late, I was all current, but I was paying my wife outside of the court, so outside of the system, until we settled on, what custody issues and all that were going to be. Well, dummy me, I didn't know, I should have documented it better. I kept a ledger, she kept a ledger, we had the amounts, but yeah, what happened was I wanted to come out to the Philippines after the pandemic because 2020, I didn't want to stay in quarantine, blah, blah, blah. So I was going to come out here in 2022, get married to my now wife, who I am married to. Problem was I had to renew my passport, okay? It was getting to be like, within 8 months of expiration, and I knew I was going to come out there and get the SRR visa, which I did here. But your passport cannot be, 6 months or less from the expiration date. So I had to take care of it. Well, in doing so, I figured out, Mr. James, you cannot renew your passport. You have a pending child support issue. Okay, I know what that is, fine. So I tried to work with my ex on this, and I said, what's pending? Everything's current. I'm paid. Can you please let them know it's paid? Well, you paid it outside of the child support realm ether, so no, I'm going to want that money again. Okay, I'm going to want that money again. And it was like, I think about 24 to 26,000 US dollars. Okay. A pretty good chunk of change. And I wasn't coming out here with a whole lot of money, so that really took quite a bit of what I was coming out here with. But it was either that or not come out here. So what I did was I settled with her through mediation, because in the States we go through mediation more so than actually have a judge hear the case, the family court case judge hear it. And mediation's a lot better, much easier, less time consuming, decisions go like that, So we came to an agreement. I agreed to pay they called it back child support, but they had a different name for it because they knew I had it already paid and it was current. They knew what my ex-wife was doing, okay, or my ex, soon to be, So look, guys, I know whatever went to her. I know our son got some of the benefits, so I had to take solace in that. Okay, it's all I can do. So they finalized it, but the problem was, okay, now how long is this going to take with the child support division? So I called the court advocate who worked, within the child support system. I said, hey, how fast is this going to work? I want to get my passport renewed and get out here. So you guys, she told me just check online and you'll see when it's clear. I'm like, okay, I paid the money, everything was done, and I didn't even think about it. But 4 or 5 days later, I went online to see if there was a progress bar of any kind. There wasn't. But guess what it said? Cleared, 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 cleared. You may now renew your passport. I'm like, whoa, thank you, Lord. God was looking after me at that point. And I got it renewed. I went online because you can do it online. I expedited it. I paid the expedite fee, had it shipped to me, and bang, I was ready to go. I wanted to get out of the US. I love the US. It's been so good to me. I've raised children there. I've had a few marriages there. They all taught me and my exes, it's good. They're not mistakes, you guys. They're lessons learned. They're teaching moments. Sometimes those moments last years, sometimes they're short-lived. But anyway, so, and I did get at her. So moral of that story is, my story is, be careful, you guys. Catch it in the butt before anything. Make sure that you are able to renew your passport if you need to. And make sure that, you settle everything with whoever you left out in the Philippines. Ear to the ground, okay? Maybe it's not yours, keep your ear to the ground though, okay? Because that's really, really important. So Social Security took care of their children, of Jeff and May's child. The family court system took care of my issue, and I was able to come out to the beautiful Philippines. and be with my wife, you know, and her two children, which are now my two children. And, you know, in the beginning, we traveled a lot, blah, blah, blah. We did. It's just a blessing for everyone. The story ends well for us all. So my videos are not negative, you guys. They're just informative, and they're just buyer beware. You know, that's all. That's all. So you guys, thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure doing this video with you. And our next video is more organic. I want you to come with us on a little road trip, just local. And for those of you in the United States, this next video is after this one is going to be about, you know, come on to the grocery stores with us. Come on and ride the transportation with us. Come on and look at traffic. Come on and look at people, girls on the street, you know. Come on and look at how people live. That's all. It's just a very Pinoy organic video. I think you'll enjoy. You can just chill and watch it. All right, you guys, God bless, and thank you for watching.